It is exactly 12 p.m. on March 6, 2026, and the geopolitical reality of the Middle East has been violently and irreversibly overwritten by a level of kinetic destruction that was considered unthinkable even 24 hours ago. As we speak, the world's most luxurious and seemingly untouchable skyline in Dubai has fallen into a state of total panic after the Emirati Ministry of Interior activated its nationwide missile emergency alert system, sending millions of residents and tourists into underground bunkers as the Tehran regime, in a final, desperate act of conventional defiance, targets the economic heart of the Gulf with a swarm of remaining cruise missiles. But the truly shattering blow didn't come from the sky. It came from a single, cold-blooded update posted by Donald Trump on Truth Social just minutes ago, where he officially confirmed what the global intelligence community has been whispering in the shadows. The Iranian Integrated Air Defense System, or IADS, has effectively ceased to exist, completely pulverized by a relentless, multi-layered wave of U.S. and Israeli Operation Epic Fury strikes that have turned the airspace over Tehran into a wide-open hunting ground. This is not just another military escalation. This is the definitive physical collapse of the axis of resistance's defensive shield, as confirmed by reports of the Israeli Air Force launching a broad-scale wave of destruction that has successfully decapitated Hezbollah's central command and wiped out its primary drone depots in southern Beirut in a single surgical afternoon, leaving the entire northern front in a state of terminal tactical paralysis, while the mainstream media remains paralyzed under government-mandated blackouts. You are currently watching the only source of unfiltered, raw intelligence on the second phase of this campaign here on SAM Conflict News. And because of the massive digital throttling happening across the globe, you must hit that subscribe button right now and turn on all notifications, because in this era of electronic warfare, our channel is the only strategic map you have to navigate the next 24 hours of absolute global chaos. With the U.S. House of Representatives officially killing the War Powers Resolution, granting Donald Trump a permanent, unmonitored green light to liquidate the threat without a single legal or constitutional barrier, even neutral nations like Sri Lanka have begun seizing Iranian-linked vessels, signaling that the global financial and military net is closing so tightly around the Islamic Republic that the only remaining outcome is total structural surrender. As we prepare to show you the leaked thermal footage of the Dubai interceptions and the classified ultimatum Trump just sent to the shivering interim council in Tehran, ask yourself, are you ready for a world where the superpowers are no longer fighting for influence, but for the total erasure of their enemies' capacity to exist? This is part 1 of the 2026 collapse, and as the lights go out in the command centers of the Middle East, remember that the only currency more valuable than gold right now is the truth. So join our community of thousands by subscribing now, because the golden era is being forged in a fire that is only beginning to burn. As the smoke continues to rise from the ruins of Tehran's command centers on this fateful March 6, 2026, a second, even more dangerous war is being waged behind closed doors, the battle for the soul of the Islamic Republic, as the Assembly of Experts reportedly meets in an emergency underground session to formalize the next supreme leader under extreme pressure from the Revolutionary Guard. While opposition sources like Iran International claim that Mojtaba Khamenei, the son of the late leader, has already been chosen in a desperate bid to maintain structural continuity, Donald Trump has just shattered the diplomatic protocol by declaring Mojtaba an unacceptable lightweight, effectively signaling that the United States will not recognize or tolerate any leader who continues the shadow war policies of the past 47 years.
This is a level of direct interference that we haven't seen in modern history. By publicly dismissing the frontrunner and demanding a role in the selection process, citing the Maduro-style precedent in Venezuela, Trump has turned the Iranian succession into a global auction of power, where the stakes are no longer just religious authority, but national survival. We are receiving reports of a deep tectonic fracture within the Iranian establishment. While the hardline IRGC commanders are pushing for Mojtaba to prevent a total collapse of their influence, a group of senior clerics is reportedly terrified that appointing him will turn the new leadership into a permanent, high-value target for Israeli elimination squads. Meanwhile, an interim leadership council consisting of President Pezeshkian and Chief Justice Mohseni EJ is struggling to keep the streets under control as the nationalist rally around the flag effect begins to clash with a rising, silent tide of citizens who realize that their only chance for a future might be the very regime change Trump is subtly orchestrating. You need to understand the gravity of this moment. If you aren't subscribed to SAM Conflict News, you are missing the most critical pivot point of the 2026 revolution. Hit that notification bell now, because we are tracking the secret movements of Mojtaba Khamenei, who was reportedly absent during the initial strikes and is now the most hunted man on the planet. This isn't just about a name, it's about whether the next leader of Iran will choose a path of total sacred retaliation or a humiliating gold-backed surrender in the face of Operation Epic Fury's second phase. As we prepare to show you the internal IRGC messages we've intercepted and the specific targets Israel has marked for the next 24 hours, remember that in a world of decapitated leadership, the one who controls the narrative controls the outcome. And on this channel, we are the only ones holding the decrypted map of the new Iranian power struggle.
What we witnessed in the skies over Tel Aviv and the U.S. naval assets in the Gulf last night was not a fireworks display, nor was it a conventional military defense. It was the definitive, terrifyingly silent inauguration of the directed energy era, a moment where the Iron Beam system, officially designated by the IDF as Or-Eitan or Eitan's Light, has fundamentally and permanently shattered the thousand-year geometry of warfare by proving that the speed of light has finally replaced the speed of sound on the 21st century battlefield. As the Iranian True Promise 4 retaliatory swarm, consisting of over 800 low-cost Shahed 136 drones and a coordinated barrage of Fateh 110 short-range ballistic missiles, attempted to saturate the region's defenses in a desperate bid to overwhelm the Aegis and Patriot systems, the world watched in a state of paralyzed awe as invisible 100-kilowatt solid-state fiber lasers superheated these targets to 5,000 degrees Celsius in less than 2 seconds, causing them to vaporize and disintegrate in mid-air with zero ammunition cost and, more importantly, zero audible warning to the operators on the ground. This is the scientific conquest that we have been warning you about on SAM Conflict News. For the first time in human history, the massive multi-billion-dollar logistical nightmare of interceptor missiles, where a $40,000 Tamir interceptor was required to stop a $500 drone, has been rendered economically and tactically obsolete by a system that costs less than $3 per shot in electricity, effectively bankrupting the entire axis of resistance's strategy of asymmetric attrition overnight. The precision of Or-Eitan is nothing short of supernatural, using advanced AI-driven adaptive optics that can compensate for atmospheric turbulence in nanoseconds. These laser batteries are capable of locking onto a coin-sized sensor on a missile from 10 kilometers away, maintaining a steady, lethal focus that melts the internal guidance chips and fuel tanks of incoming projectiles before they even clear the horizon.
a capability that has turned the once-feared missile swarm into a pathetic display of falling charred debris that only serves to illuminate the absolute technological hegemony of the new American-Israeli defense architecture. But the implications of Operation Epic Fury go far beyond the borders of Iran. By integrating the Iron Beam into the Palantir-powered Maven smart system, the U.S. military has achieved a level of automated kill chain efficiency that allows for over 1,000 targets to be prioritized and neutralized in a 24-hour window, effectively creating a hemispheric shield that makes traditional air defense look like a relic of the Napoleonic Wars. And as we speak, the Iron Beam M, the mobile truck-mounted variant of this light weapon, is already moving into the freedom lanes to protect the first gold-backed energy tankers, ensuring that any attempt to reclose the Strait of Hormuz will be met not with a counterattack, but with a silent, invisible erasure of the threat at the speed of physics. This is why Moscow and Beijing are currently in a state of paralyzed silence. They have just realized that their entire hypersonic and ballistic deterrents are being measured against a weapon that doesn't miss, doesn't run out of ammunition, and doesn't care about the rules of engagement. And as we prepare to show you the thermal footage of the first Iron Beam interception of a hypersonic glide vehicle in the next part of this breakdown, ask yourself if you can afford to miss what comes next. Join our community of thousands by subscribing now, because we are the only source tracking the real-time fallout of the 2026 scientific revolution.
While the world's eyes are glued to the kinetic fireworks of the Iron Beam over the Persian Gulf on this historic March 6, 2026, the most lethal strike of Operation Epic Fury has just been delivered not by a laser, but by a digital ledger, marking the official and irreversible burial of the Petro-Dollar system that has underpinned the globalist hegemony since 1971, as Donald Trump executes a cold-blooded financial maneuver that effectively decouples the American economy from the volatile whims of Middle Eastern energy blackmail forever. As of this noon, we are witnessing the emergence of the Petro Reset, a classified economic blueprint where the closure of the Strait of Hormuz by a desperate Tehran was not a crisis to be managed, but a deliberate opportunity to finalize the transition to a gold-backed digital dollar that renders the old world's debt-based currency completely obsolete in a single calculated stroke of the pen. You have to understand the magnitude of what is happening. By allowing the Iranian regime to effectively commit geopolitical suicide by attempting to choke the world's oil supply, Washington has triggered a force majeure on a global scale, allowing the U.S. Treasury to freeze over $3 trillion in hostile foreign assets, while simultaneously announcing that the first Freedom tankers moving through the newly secured maritime corridors will only accept payments in a new gold-stabilized energy token, effectively stripping China, India, and the European Union of their ability to trade in the depreciating currencies of the old world. This is the golden era in its most raw, predatory, and brilliant form. As we speak, the massive wealth transfer we predicted here on SAM Conflict News is accelerating at a rate that has left the central banks of the G7 in a state of catatonic shock, because for the first time in 50 years, the United States is no longer asking for permission to lead. It is dictating the terms of global survival by controlling both the security of the energy routes and the very medium of exchange required to use them. The genius of the strategy lies in its brutal simplicity. While Iran gambled on the world's fear of a $200 barrel of oil to stop the American advance, Trump leaned into the chaos, knowing that with the Iron Beam protecting the West's domestic production and the freedom lanes securing the flow of energy to loyal allies, the only nations truly facing an existential economic winter are those who refuse to align with the new Oman Protocols of the Golden Era.
We are seeing a total re-engineering of the global supply chain, where the dollar is no longer backed by the threat of war alone, but by the undeniable reality of absolute energy dominance and a technological shield that makes traditional military retaliation impossible, effectively turning the US dollar back into the global gold standard. But this time, it is a digital version that is impervious to the manipulation of the old globalist elites in Davos or the shadow bankers of the East. If you are starting to realize that the world you woke up in this morning is fundamentally different from the one you knew yesterday, then you need to subscribe to this channel right now, because we are the only source tracking the real-time collapse of the fiat currency empire and the birth of the high-tech, gold-backed hegemony that Trump has been building in the shadows since his inauguration. As we prepare to move into the final part of this breakdown to reveal the secret coordinates of the new global stability zones and what they mean for your personal wealth, remember that in a world of lies, the truth is the most valuable currency you can hold. So hit that notification bell and join the thousands who have already realized that the Petro reset is not a theory, it is the new law of the land, and those who do not adapt today will find themselves permanently locked out of the prosperity of tomorrow. While the world's eyes are glued to the kinetic fireworks of the Iron Beam over the Persian Gulf on this historic March 6, 2026, the most lethal strike of Operation Epic Fury has just been delivered not by a laser, but by a digital ledger, marking the official and irreversible burial of the Petro-Dollar system that has underpinned the globalist hegemony since 1971, as Donald Trump executes a cold-blooded financial maneuver that effectively decouples the American economy from the volatile whims of Middle Eastern energy blackmail forever. As of this noon, we are witnessing the emergence of the Petro Reset, a classified economic blueprint where the closure of the Strait of Hormuz by a desperate Tehran was not a crisis to be managed, but a deliberate opportunity to finalize the transition to a gold-backed digital dollar that renders the old world's debt-based currency completely obsolete in a single calculated stroke of the pen. You have to understand the magnitude of what is happening. By allowing the Iranian regime to effectively commit geopolitical suicide by attempting to choke the world's oil supply, Washington has triggered a force majeure on a global scale, allowing the U.S. Treasury to freeze over $3 trillion in hostile foreign assets, while simultaneously announcing that the first Freedom tankers moving through the newly secured maritime corridors will only accept payments in a new gold-stabilized energy token, effectively stripping China, India, and the European Union of their ability to trade in the depreciating currencies of the old world. This is the golden era in its most raw, predatory, and brilliant form. As we speak, the massive wealth transfer we predicted here on SAM Conflict News is accelerating at a rate that has left the central banks of the G7 in a state of catatonic shock, because for the first time in 50 years, the United States is no longer asking for permission to lead. It is dictating the terms of global survival by controlling both the security of the energy routes and the very medium of exchange required to use them. The genius of the strategy lies in its brutal simplicity. While Iran gambled on the world's fear of a $200 barrel of oil to stop the American advance, Trump leaned into the chaos, knowing that with the Iron Beam protecting the West's domestic production and the freedom lanes securing the flow of energy to loyal allies, the only nations truly facing an existential economic winter are those who refuse to align with the new Oman Protocols of the Golden Era. We are seeing a total re-engineering of the global supply chain, where the dollar is no longer backed by the threat of war alone, but by the undeniable reality of absolute energy dominance and a technological shield that makes traditional military retaliation impossible, effectively turning the US dollar back into the global gold standard. But this time, it is a digital version that is impervious to the manipulation of the old globalist elites in Davos or the shadow bankers of the East. If you are starting to realize that the world you woke up in this morning is fundamentally different from the one you knew yesterday, then you need to subscribe to this channel right now, because we are the only source tracking the real-time collapse of the fiat currency empire and the birth of the high-tech, gold-backed hegemony that Trump has been building in the shadows since his inauguration. As we prepare to move into the final part of this breakdown to reveal the secret coordinates of the new global stability zones and what they mean for your personal wealth, remember that in a world of lies, the truth is the most valuable currency you can hold. So hit that notification bell and join the thousands who have already realized that the Petro reset is not a theory, it is the new law of the land, and those who do not adapt today will find themselves permanently locked out of the prosperity of tomorrow.
As we stand on the threshold of this unprecedented afternoon on March 6, 2026, we are no longer looking at the debris of a regional conflict, but at the architectural blueprint of a new high-tech civilizational alliance that Donald Trump has quietly branded as the Golden Era. A reality where the outdated, bloody borders of the 20th century Middle East are being physically and digitally redrawn to align with the strategic stability zones outlined in the recently declassified 2026 National Defense Strategy. This is the moment where peace through strength stops being a campaign slogan and becomes the mandatory operating system for the entire planet, as Washington moves to establish the Board of Peace, a transactional, business-first governing body that effectively replaces the paralyzed bureaucracy of the United Nations with a streamlined, American-led directorate designed to manage regional burden sharing with the cold efficiency of a Fortune 500 company. Look closely at the coordinates we are showing you now. From the reconstruction zones in the Gaza Strip to the newly stabilized transitional government in Damascus, the Dawn Road Doctrine is being enforced with the silent authority of the Iron Beam Shield, creating a hemispheric fortress that doesn't just deter aggression, but makes the very idea of resistance a logistical impossibility. You have to understand that the Oman Protocols weren't a failed peace treaty. They were the final diagnostic test for the global order, and those who failed to adapt, like the old guard in Tehran, have found themselves permanently deleted from the map of the future, while the new Abraham Alliance expands to include a normalized Saudi-Israeli coalition that is currently preparing to launch the most ambitious infrastructure project in human history, the Neom-Haifa Corridor, a gold-backed energy and data highway that will bypass the volatility of the old world's shipping lanes forever. If you are starting to realize that the Petro reset we discussed is just the first domino in a total civilizational re-engineering, then you cannot afford to miss a single update. Hit that subscribe button right now and join the inner circle of SAM Conflict News, because as the mainstream media continues to report on temporary spikes in oil, we are the only ones showing you the stability zone blueprints that will dictate where you can safely invest, travel, and prosper in this new American century. We are witnessing a world where the Iron Dome for the homeland is no longer a dream, but a deployed reality, protecting the first digital gold-backed American dollar from any desperate retaliatory strikes. And as we prepare to reveal the specific targeted assistance packages that Trump is using to reward loyal allies in North Africa and the Indo-Pacific, ask yourself, are you positioned to survive the golden era, or are you still clinging to the wreckage of the old world order?
The map has changed, the rules have been rewritten in the heat of a laser beam, and as the first freedom tankers begin their journey under the protection of the most lethal military force ever assembled, remember that the future belongs to those who see it coming. Turn on all notifications and comment "stability" below to let us know you're ready for what's next, because on this channel, we don't just watch history happen, we decode the strategy behind it, and today, the golden era has only just begun. This is Sam Conflict News, signing off from the dawn of a new world.